Hey guys, tonight we begin with something a little darker, a time of plagues, punishments, and pottage. We're diving into what life was really like during the Middle Ages. Forget the castles and chivalry Hollywood sold you. The truth, you probably wouldn't last a single day. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here, and let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you. It's always fascinating to see who's joining us from around the world. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. I wake to a world that claws at my senses, a world that smells of decay and feels like a betrayal of every comfort I've ever known. My eyes flutter open, and the darkness of a wooden hut in York, England, 1327, presses against me like a living thing. The air is thick, heavy with the stench of damp straw, sour milk, and something darker, maybe the ghost of last week's stew, maybe the mold creeping up the walls. I'm sprawled on a mattress, 6 feet long, 4 feet wide, stuffed with hay that crackles and pricks my skin, each blade a tiny needle of defiance. I'm no knight, no noble, just me, a peasant, tangled in a wool blanket that weighs 15 pounds, its fibers crusted with months of grime, sweat, and despair. I'm not alone. My sister's breath, warm and uneven, brushes my cheek. My cousin's arm is slung across my chest, and a scruffy dog snores at my feet. Its warmth, a small mercy. In the corner, a goat bleats, its eyes glinting in the faint glow of dying embers. This is my morning, and it's a warning. I might not survive this day. What kind of world have I stumbled into? How did people endure this? Stay with me, and I'll show you a life so raw, so relentless, it'll make your modern heart race with awe and dread. The church bell clangs 5 in the morning, a sound that doesn't coax but commands, slicing through the fog of sleep like a blade. It's louder than any smartphone alarm, more merciless, echoing across York's muddy streets, demanding I rise. I want to bury myself under the blanket, to cling to the fleeting warmth of sleep. But there's no snooze button in 1327. My hut is a fragile shell, 10 feet by 12, its wooden planks warped and gapped, letting in drafts that bite like teeth. The dirt floor is slick, glistening from last night's rain that seeped through the thatched roof, a roof that sags like the hopes of everyone inside. I wiggle my toes, bare and numb, and instantly regret it as they brush something crusty. Goat droppings, maybe, or worse. My stomach twists, not just from hunger, but from the smell, a suffocating blend of human sweat, animal musk, and mold that clings to the air like a curse. There's no lavender diffuser, no open window to clear the stench. This is reality, unfiltered, unapologetic, and it's only the beginning. Can you imagine waking to this? No coffee, no clean sheets, just a fight to breathe. I sit up, and my spine protests, creaking like an old wooden gate. I'm 22, but in this world, that's halfway to the grave. My knees grind like stones in a sack, my joints aching, as if they've carried centuries. I glance at my family, stirring now, their faces smudged with soot from the hearth's weak fire. My sister's eyes meet mine, tired but fierce, a silent pact to face another day. Privacy is a myth here, as distant as a hot shower or a locked door. We're a unit, bound by survival, sharing this one-room life with fleas, lice, and creatures I don't dare name. Fleas hop across my arm, tiny invaders, claiming me as their own. I scratch, but it's futile. Everyone's itchy, from the baker down the lane to the priest in his stone church. It's not a flaw. It's a fact, woven into the fabric of this life, like the sunrise or the Lord's tax collector pounding on the door. I wonder, could you endure this constant crawling, this invasion of your skin? It's a question that lingers, pulling you deeper into my story. I shuffle to my feet, careful not to crush my cousin's hand or disturb the dog. The floor is a battlefield, wet in patches from leaks, gritty in others from dirt and debris. I pull on my only outfit, a wool tunic that's more stain than fabric, its fibers stiff with mud, grease, and the memory of countless days. It smells like a wet dog forgotten in a barn, a scent that clings to my skin like shame. There's no laundry day, no washing machine humming in the background. Cleaning means trekking half a mile to a well, hauling 10-gallon buckets through mud, heating water over a fire that's a struggle to keep lit, and scrubbing with ashes that burn more than they clean. I pass. My shoes' leather scraps tied with twine offer as much comfort as a cardboard box. Most days I go barefoot, my toes sinking into mud, dodging rocks, and what I pray isn't waste. Every step is a gamble, a reminder that this world doesn't care if I falter. Picture yourself here. No sneakers, no socks, just your feet against the earth's raw edge. Would you keep walking? Hunger gnaws at my gut, a sharp, insistent ache, but breakfast isn't the warm embrace I crave. I squat by the hearth, where embers glow like fading stars. My sister hands me a wooden bowl, its edges worn smooth by years of use, its weight a quiet comfort in my hands. Inside is pottage, a grayish sludge of barley, wilted onions, and maybe a turnip simmering in a pot that hasn't been cleaned in weeks. It's not food, it's fuel, a grim necessity to keep my heart beating. I tear off a chunk of bread, hard as stone, made from rye mixed with chaff, because wheat is a lord's luxury, not mine. Chewing is a battle, each bite grinding against my teeth, which throb from years of grit and neglect. No dentist, no toothpaste, just pain, a constant companion. I wash it down with small beer, weak and sour, its faint alcohol safer than the stream water teeming with parasites. Even the kids sip it, their small hands clutching mugs, their eyes older than their years. It's not about taste, it's about survival. Can you feel the weight of that first bite? The way it sits heavy in your stomach, promising nothing but another day. I step outside, and the cold slaps my face, sharp and unforgiving. York's streets are narrow, lined with timber houses, leaning like weary travelers. The air reeks of waste, human, animal, and mystery liquids pooling in ditches. A river of filth that flows through the city's heart. I shout, "Look out," as I empty our bucket into the street. A ritual as ordinary as checking my phone in. Another life. The act feels wrong, but it's law. There's no sewer system, no sanitation crew, just the street and a warning cry. I trudge toward the market, a half-mile slog through mud that sucks at my bare feet, each step a test of will. I pass a blacksmith, his hammer sparking like tiny comets, and a woman selling eggs from a wicker basket, her voice sharp as she hackles. I've got no coins, just a handful of barley grains, my only currency in this world. The market hums with life vendors shouting, kids chasing a stray pig, a bard strumming a lute in the corner. It's chaotic, raw, and strangely beautiful, a pulse of defiance against the grind. I feel a spark, a fleeting joy, watching these people fight for their place in a world that offers so little. Have you ever felt that? The thrill of finding light in a dark place, like scrolling through a hopeful post in a sea of bad news. Back at the hut, the real work begins, and it's no cubicle daydream. I grab my hoe, a 10-pound slab of splintered oak, its handle worn smooth by hands before mine. The fields stretch endlessly, owned by a lord who doesn't know my name, his castle looming a mile away. I plow from dawn to dusk, 6 days a week, my hands blistering, my back screaming with every swing. The sun climbs and sweat soaks my tunic, the wool chafing my skin until it's raw. I'm not alone, men, women, even kids as young as 5, the fields, dragging sacks of seed or hauling water in buckets that weigh 20 pounds. Their faces are set, not in despair but in quiet resolve, a strength I didn't expect. I think of my old, life-endless emails, coffee runs, the hum of air conditioning and feel a pang of shame. Those complaints seem small now, dwarfed by this relentless rhythm of survival. Could you carry that weight, day after day, with no weekend in sight? As the sun dips, painting the sky in bruised purples, something unexpected pulls me from my aches. The village gathers by the hearth, not for food, but for stories. An old woman, her face carved with lines like a map of her life, spins a tale of a knight who tricked a dragon with a riddle. The kids lean in, eyes wide as moons, and I'm caught, my blisters forgotten. Laughter ripples through the hut, warm and defiant, a middle finger to the fleas, the hunger, the endless work. It's not just storytelling, it's rebellion, a claim to joy in a world that tries to snuff it out. I join in, my voice shaky at first, sharing a half-remembered tale from my childhood. The room feels alive, the firelight dancing on our faces, and I see it. These people aren't just surviving, they're thriving, stubborn as weeds, pushing through cracks. It's like finding a viral video that makes you laugh through tears. A reminder that humans are built to find light, no matter how dark the world. What stories would you tell to keep hope alive in a place like this? I lie back on the straw, the dog's snores a soft rhythm beside me. The bells will ring again at dawn, dragging me back to the fields, the mud, the fight. I'm filthy, aching, and barely holding on, but I'm here, carrying the laughter, the stories, the stubborn spark of this village. I wouldn't last long in this world, not with my soft, modern habits, my clean sheets, my Wi-Fi, my takeout coffee, but these people, they're giants, forging life from dirt and dreams. Their resilience, a mirror to every time I've pushed through my own struggles. I close my eyes, the hearth's glow fading, and feel a surge of gratitude for my world, my bed, my life. Tomorrow, York will test me again, but tonight, I'm holding on to the mystery of their strength, wondering what else this brutal, beautiful world will teach me. Stay with me, there's more to uncover, more lives to live, more stories to tell. The dawn bell rips me from a fleeting dream of clean sheets and warm coffee. its clang, a brutal reminder that I'm still here, in Bruges, Belgium, 1327, trapped in a peasant's life. My body aches from yesterday's labor, my 6-foot straw mattress a battlefield of lumps and fleas that bite with relentless hunger. I'm tangled in my wool tunic, stiff with sweat and mud, its sour smell blending with the hut's stench goat, smoke, and something rotting in the corner. My sister stirs beside me, her breath a soft cloud in the chilly air, while my cousin mutters in his sleep, the dog at our feet twitching. The 10-by-12-foot hut feels smaller today, its wooden walls closing in, the dirt floor slick with last night's rain. I'm 22, but my bones groan like they've lived a century. And the day ahead looms like a mountain I'm not sure I can climb. What kind of world demands this much just to survive? How did they keep going? Stay with me, and I'll pull you into the grit and grace of a day in medieval Bruges. A story that'll make your modern heart pound with shock and wonder. I force myself up, my bare feet meeting the cold, gritty floor. Every step is a gamble, mud, straw, or something worse left by the goat. The air is thick, a mix of human sweat, animal musk, and mold that clings like a second skin. I need to relieve myself, but there's no bathroom, no porcelain sanctuary, just a wooden bucket behind the hut, already brimming from my uncle's rough night with bad turnips. The smell hits me like a wave, sharp and biblical, stealing my breath. I hold it, do what I must, and toss the contents into the street with a shout of lookout. It feels wrong, like I'm breaking some unspoken rule. But this is Bruges. Streets are sewers, flowing with human waste, animal droppings, and mystery liquids I don't dare examine. I could use the public latrine, a wooden bench over a pit, where strangers sit shoulder to shoulder, trading awkward glances and trying not to breathe too deeply. No walls, no privacy, just a shared misery that makes me long for a gas station restroom, even a dirty one. Toilet paper is a fantasy. I grab a handful of moss, damp and scratchy, or a rag if I'm lucky. Sometimes it's just my hand, and I understand why handshakes haven't caught on. Can you imagine this? No flush, no soap, just a bucket and a prayer. It's a shock that pulls you deeper, urging you to see how far this world will push me. I rinse my hands in a bucket of water, cold and murky, probably no cleaner than the street. Bathing is a myth, here most believe. It invites disease, opening pores to invisible demons. My skin is caked with grime, a protective layer I'm told to cherish. My teeth throb, no toothbrush or minty paste to ease them. I chew a twig, its bitter taste doing little to mask my breath, which smells like last week's pottage. I think of my electric toothbrush, my steaming shower, and feel a pang of longing so sharp it hurts. These people don't have time for self-pity. They move. They endure. I pull on my tunic, the same one I've worn for months, its wool chafing my raw skin. My feet, bare again, brace for the mud outside. Shoes leather scraps, tied with twiner, useless against Bruges streets, where every step risks a sharp rock or a disease-ridden puddle. I'm not just dirty. I'm part of this ecosystem, fleas and all. Picture yourself here, scratching endlessly, your skin a map of bites. Would you keep moving, or would you break? Hunger claws at my stomach, but breakfast offers no comfort. I squat by the hearth, where embers glow faintly, casting shadows on the walls. My sister hands me a wooden bowl, its weight familiar, almost grounding. Inside is pottage, a gray sludge of barley, wilted greens, and a chunk of something that might be a turnip, simmering in a pot that's seen weeks of use without a scrub. It's not a meal, it's a necessity, a grim pact with survival. I tear off a piece of bread, hard as a brick, made from rye, mixed with sawdust, because wheat is for lords, not us. Chewing is a fight, each bite grinding against my aching teeth, a reminder of years without dental care. I sip small beer, weak and sour, its faint alcohol safer than the river water crawling with parasites. The kids drink it too, their small hands clutching mugs, their eyes too old for their faces. It's not about flavor, it's about staying alive. I think of my morning smoothie, my avocado toast, and almost laugh at how soft I've been. These people eat to fight another day, and I'm learning their strength. Bite by bitter bite, can you taste it? The weight of survival in every spoonful, urging you to keep listening. I step into Bruges streets, the cold biting my face like a warning. The city is alive, its narrow lanes lined with timber houses leaning like drunken sailors. The air reeks of waste, a river of filth flowing through ditches, a stench that makes my eyes water. I trudge toward the market, a half-mile slog through mud that sucks at my bare feet, each step a battle against the earth. I pass a blacksmith, his hammer sparking like tiny stars, and a woman selling eggs, her voice sharp as she haggles. I've got no coins, just a handful of barley grains, my only currency. The market is a chaos of sound and color vendors, shouting, kids chasing a stray pig, a bard strumming a lute in the corner. I approach a stall where an old man offers rosemary sprigs, 2 inches long, their sharp scent a promise to mask the hut's stench. I trade half my grains for 1 sprig, tucking it into my tunic like a treasure. It's a small victory, a spark of ingenuity in a world that grinds you down. The market's energy lifts me, a reminder that even here people find ways to thrive, to barter, to laugh. It's like stumbling on a vibrant Reddit thread in a sea of doom-scrolling, a burst of life that pulls you in. Have you ever found hope in a crowded, messy place? That's what Bruges is teaching me. The fields call, and I grab my hoe, a 10-pound slab of oak that feels heavier today. The Lord's land stretches endlessly, a mile from the hut, his castle a distant shadow I'll never enter. I plow from dawn to dusk, 6 days a week, my hands blistering, my back screaming with every swing. The sun climbs, and sweat soaks my tunic, the wool chafing until my skin is raw. I'm not alone. Men, women, kids as young as 5, the fields, dragging sacks of seed or hauling 20-pound buckets of water. Their faces are set, not in despair, but in quiet resolve, a strength that humbles me. A boy nearby sings a work song, his voice thin but steady, and others join in, their notes rising above the clink of tools. It's not just music, it's defiance, a refusal to let the grind win. I hum along, my blisters fading for a moment, and think of my old playlists pumping me up for a gym session. It's the same instinct sound as survival, a thread connecting me to these people. I wonder, what song would you sing to push through a day like this? The afternoon drags, the sun relentless, my hoe heavier with every furrow, My feet sink deeper into the mud, my tunic sticking to my skin like a second curse. But the market's rosemary lingers, its scent a faint rebellion against the stench. I think of my old life cubicles, coffee breaks, the hum of WI find, feel a surge of gratitude for what I've left behind. These people don't have that, but they have each other, their songs, their bartered sprigs. They're teaching me something. Life isn't about comfort, it's about finding light in the dark, a lesson as real now as it was then. I pause, leaning on my hoe, and watch a girl, maybe 10, carry a bucket twice her size. She doesn't complain, she just moves, her eyes fierce with purpose. I'm awed, my heart swelling with respect for her, for all of them. As evening falls, I trudge back to the hut, my body screaming, but my spirit oddly full. The rosemary's scent clings to me, a small triumph. I collapse by the hearth, the fire's glow, a quiet comfort. The day's not over, there's wool to spin, water to fetch, but for now I sit watching the flames. I'm filthy, aching, and alive. Bruges has tested me, pushed me to the edge, but I'm still here, carrying the market's buzz, the work song's rhythm, the girl's fierce eyes. I think of you, in your clean apartment, your fridge stocked, your phone glowing. You've got comforts I can only dream of here, but these people, they've got grit, a fire that burns through the muck. I'm learning what it means to endure, to find joy in the smallest victories, a sprig, a song, a shared glance. What would you fight for in a world this hard? Stay with me, because Bruges isn't done with us yet. There's more to uncover, more to feel, more to learn from this raw, relentless life. I'm no longer trudging through the muddy fields of Bruges, my hands raw from a peasant's hoe. I'm Alina, a 16-year-old German princess, standing in the heart of St. Petersburg, Russia, 1744. My pulse hammering beneath a corset that feels like a prison for my ambitions. The Winter Palace towers around me, a sprawling 500-room labyrinth of gilded chandeliers, velvet drapes, and whispered betrayals, its air thick with the scent of beeswax, incense, and the sharp, metallic tang of courtly intrigue. I've cast aside my old name, my Lutheran faith, and the quiet safety of my past for a new identity, Karen embracing orthodoxy, and a throne that's both a golden promise and a deadly trap. My husband, Ivan, heir to Russia's crown, is no storybook prince. He's a petulant boy, more captivated by his toy soldiers than the vast empire I'm learning to cherish. I'm alone in a den of vipers, my every word dissected, my every step a potential fall into ruin. Yet, I'm not here to be a pawn in their game. I'm here to seize the board and rewrite the rules. What kind of world demands such cunning from a girl barely grown? How does one rise from an outsider to an empress who shapes history? Stay with me, and I'll draw you into a tale of wit, daring and unrelenting will. A story that'll clutch your heart with its audacity and make you question what you'd sacrifice to forge your own destiny. The palace is a glittering cage, its 200-foot halls lined with towering portraits of czars whose stern gazes judge my every move. I feel their eyes and those of the courtiers, boring into me, a foreigner, a mere girl, a threat to their carefully guarded power. My first nights are sleepless, the weight of their expectations heavier than the fur cloak I drape against St. Petersburg's bone-chilling winds. I learn Russian by the flicker of candlelight, my fingers trembling as they trace Cyrillic letters on parchment. Each unfamiliar curve, a step toward belonging, a lifeline in this alien world. My eyes burn from hours of study, but I press on, driven by a hunger to prove I'm more than a decorative bride. In the 200-foot cathedral, I kneel among golden icons, their painted faces glowing under candlelight, memorizing Orthodox prayers until they flow like a second heartbeat. The incense curls around me, thick and heady, a reminder of the sacred role I must play. Ivan scoffs at my efforts, his laughter sharp as he drills his toy soldiers across the polished floor of our 300-square-foot bedchamber, a childish game that blinds him to the Empire's pulse. He's German-born like me, but where he clings to Prussia's shadow, scorning Russia's traditions, I embrace the myth's language, its history, its vast, frozen soul stretching across 6,000 miles of steppe and forest. I'm not here to linger in his shadow. I'm here to eclipse him, to weave myself into the very fabric of this land. Can you feel it? That electric thrill of standing on the precipice of greatness, knowing one misstep could shatter everything. The court is a chessboard, its squares, alive with hidden traps. Servants glide silently, their eyes sharp as daggers, reporting my every gesture to unseen masters. Nobles, draped in velvet and suspicion, whisper behind jeweled fans, their smiles masking schemes. Empress Anna Ivan's mother watches me like a hawk, her gaze cold, expecting a pliable bride to bend under her will. I'm anything but pliable. I learn to navigate this maze with care, charming guards with halting Russian pleasantries, my German accent softening with each practiced phrase. I seek out scholars, their ink-stained fingers guiding me to dusty tomes about Peter the Great, whose vision of a modern Russia fuels my own dreams. I memorize the names of generals, the lineage of noble families, the weight of every glance in the ballroom. But surviving isn't enough. I need to thrive, to carve a place where I'm not just tolerated but revered. So, in the dead of night, when the palace sleeps, I start a secret book club, smuggling Voltaire's essays under the folds of my heavy skirts, their pages crackling with dangerous ideas about reason, justice, and reform. 5 nobles join me in a cramped chamber, our voices hushed to whispers, a single candle casting trembling shadows on the stone walls. We debate a Russia where laws protect rather than crush, where schools rise for peasants, where chains might one day break. It's treasonous, exhilarating, a fire that burns brighter than the chandeliers above. My heart pounds as I argue, my words sharp with conviction, my mind alive with possibility. I think of you modern dreamers, coding apps in dimly lit rooms, marching for change in city streets, or scribbling ideas that could shift the world. Have you ever held a forbidden thought, knowing it could cost you everything, yet light you up inside? Ivan's reign begins in 1762, and it's a disaster from the first breath. He's czar now, but he's no ruler, a boy playing king in a 500,000 square mile empire. He insults the Orthodox Church, calling priests fools in their embroidered robes. He alienates the army, fawning over Prussia, while Russia's generals, 2,000 strong, grit their teeth in silent fury. He brags of divorcing me for his mistress, a giggling courtier whose only ambition is a prettier gown. The court turns cold as the Neva River in winter, Noble's eyes narrowing, the 1,000-strong Imperial Guard muttering in torchlit corridors. I see my moment, a crack in the Empire's foundation, and I seize it with a precision that both thrills and terrifies me. With my lover, Alexei Orlov, and his brother's men, with fire in their veins and loyalty in their heart's eye, plan a coup. Every detail as sharp as a blade. It's July, and I ride through St. Petersburg's 20-foot-wide cobblestone streets, my fur cloak billowing like a storm cloud, my heart a drumbeat echoing with the cheers of the guard. The city pulses with my Namak Tarina Empress, a chant that shakes the 200-year-old walls. Ivan, holed up in a 20-room summer palace, surrenders without a fight, his toy soldiers useless against my resolve. Days later, he's dead, hemorrhoidal colic, the official report claims, but whispers of murder trail me like ghosts. I'm Empress Ekaterina now, my hands trembling not with fear but with the weight of a crown I've forged. I didn't just take a throne, I reshaped my fate, bending history to my will. Can you imagine that rush? The moment you claim power, knowing it could unravel you, yet feeling alive in its grip. Ruling is no fairy tale, no gilded dream of velvet and feasts. The nobility, 200 strong, in their sapphire-encrusted robes, eye me with suspicion, a German, a woman, a usurper who dared to topple their czar. I walk a tightrope, balancing the fire of reform with the ice of survival. Inspired by Voltaire's words, still hidden in my chambers, I draft laws to ban torture, to open schools across Russia's 1,000-mile breadth, dreaming of a day when serfs might read the books I cherish. But I'm no idealist fool. The nobles hold the empire's reins, their loyalty tied to the serfs they own, millions bound to the land like roots to soil. I keep those chains in place, my ideals bending under the weight of political necessity. It's not perfection, but it's power, and I wield it with a steady hand, each decree a step toward a stronger Russia. I think of modern leaders, presidents navigating partisan divides, activists shouting into megaphones, entrepreneurs pitching in boardrooms, and feel a kinship. We're all juggling vision and reality, trying to leave a mark without falling into the abyss. My days are endless, filled with reports from distant provinces, decrees scratched on parchment, and the constant hum of court gossip, a buzz as relentless as a Moscow summer's flies. One-host poets, their verses weaving Russia's might into song, and commission libraries, their oak shelves, a promise of knowledge for a nation waking from slumber. Yet I'm lonely, my 300-square-foot bedchamber, a gilded cage where even Alexei's love, warm as it is, can't fill the void of trust. Every word I speak risks betrayal, every ally a potential knife. Who can I confide in when the palace walls themselves seem to listen? I wander the palace at dawn, my footsteps echoing on marble floors, the Neva River glinting through frosted windows. I'm no longer Alina, the timid girl from Pomerania's quiet fields. I'm Ekaterina Empress, a name etched in history's stone, a woman who turned a foreign court into her own empire. The court hums with plots, but I'm learning its rhythm, moving pieces with the precision of a chess master. I think of you, in your world of screens and ambitions, fighting your own battles, exams that loom like wars, jobs that demand your soul, ideals that burn in your chest. What would you risk to reshape your world to claim your place. I close my eyes, the weight of Russia pressing against my ribs, and feel a spark of hope, a fire that no winter can douse. I've risen from pawn to queen, from a girl with a borrowed name to an empress who bends history. If I can forge a throne from whispers and will, what can't I do? Stay with me, there's more to this story, more lives to live, more battles to win, and I'm not done yet. The empire waits, and so does the next chapter of this relentless, radiant journey. I wake in York, England, 1327, a peasant in a world that feels like a betrayal of every modern comfort. My 6-foot straw mattress, lumpy and crawling with fleas, is shared with my sister, cousin, and a scruffy dog. The air thick with the stench of damp hay, sweat, and goat musk in our 10-by-12-foot wooden hut. The church bell clangs at 5 a.m., a merciless alarm, and I rise, my 22-year-old body aching like it's carried a century. My wool tunic, stiff with mud and grease, chafes my skin. My bare feet navigate a dirt floor, slick with rain and debris. Privacy is a myth. My family, livestock, and parasites are my constant companions. Breakfast is pottage, a gray sludge of barley and wilted onions, paired with bread hard as stone, washed down with sour small beer, safer than parasite Triton. Water. The streets of York are open sewers, reeking of waste, and I shout, "Look out!" as I empty our bucket, a grim ritual as normal as checking a phone. The market, a half-mile slog through mud, buzzes with life, blacksmiths sparking, vendors haggling, a bard strumming. I barter barley grains for a tunch rosemary sprig, its scent a fleeting shield against the hut's stench. In the fields, I wield a 10-pound hoe, plowing the Lord's land from dawn to dusk, my hands blistering, my back screaming. Kids as young as 5 work beside me, their tiny rakes a testament to survival's demands. Yet, at night, the village gathers by the hearth, an old woman weaving tales of knights and dragons. Laughter erupts, a defiant spark against the grind, and I join in, my aches fading. These people, filthy and worn, are giants, carving joy from despair. I lie on my straw, grateful for my modern bed, and realize their resilience mirrors our own, finding light in late-night scrolls or shared memes, a stubborn will to thrive. The scene shifts to Bruges, Belgium, 1327, where I'm still a peasant, waking to the same bell, the same flea-bitten mattress, the same sour air. My body protests, my tunic a crusty second skin, my bare feet bracing for mud and worse. The call of nature is a trial-hour wooden bucket, brimming from my uncle's bad turnips, reeks like a plague. I toss its contents into the street, shouting a warning, joining Bruges' open sewers of waste and sludge. Public latrines, where strangers sit shoulder to shoulder, offer no privacy, only moss or rags for wiping. Bathing is rare, believed to invite disease. My teeth throb, cleaned only by a twig. Breakfast repeats York's misery: pottage, gritty bread, small beer fuel. For a body already weary at 20-2. Work is relentless. I trudge a mile to the fields, my 10-pound hoe splintering my hands, plowing for a lord who doesn't know me. The sun burns, my tunic chafes, and kids haul 20-pound buckets, their faces set in quiet strength. At the market, I trade grains. For a rosemary sprig, it sent a small rebellion. A boy's work song rises, thin but fierce, and others join their voices, a shield against exhaustion. I hum along, my blisters fading, and think of modern playlists, pumping us through workouts or commutes. The markets, chaos, vendors, pigs, loots lifts me, a pulse of life in a brutal world. Back at the hut, I collapse by the hearth, the rosemary's faint aroma of victory. Bruges has pushed me to the edge, but I'm alive. Learning from these peoples grit, their songs, their bartered sprigs, their refusal to break. They're teaching me, and you, that survival is a song sung through pain. I'm no longer a peasant. I'm Alina, a 16-year-old German princess in St. Petersburg, Russia, 1744, standing in the 500-room Winter Palace, my heart racing under a corset too tight for my ambitions. I've shed my name for Ekaterina, my Lutheran faith for orthodoxy, my past for a throne that's both promise and peril. My husband, Ivan, is no prince. He's childish, obsessed with toy soldiers, scorning the Russia I'm learning to love. The palace is a viper's nest, servants spy, nobles whisper, and Empress Anna watches me, expecting a pliable bride. I'm anything but. I study Russian by candlelight, my fingers tracing Cyrillic until they ache, and kneel in a 200-foot cathedral, memorizing prayers. Ivan mocks me, but I devour Russia's history, dreaming of a legacy like Peter the Great's. Nights are my rebellion. I smuggle Voltaire's essays, hosting a secret book club in a cramped chamber. 5 nobles debating reform by candlelight school's laws, a Russia beyond serfdom. It's treasonous, thrilling, and I'm alive with it, my heart echoing modern. Dreamers, coding apps, or marching for change. When Ivan becomes Tsar in 1762, he's a disaster, insulting the church, praising Prussia, alienating all. I see my moment. With my lover, Alexei Orlov, and his brothers, I stage a coup, riding through St. Petersburg's 20-foot streets, 1,000 guards cheering. Ivan surrenders in a 20-room palace, soon dead, officially a colic, but whispers say murder. I'm Empress Ekaterina, my hands trembling with power's weight. Ruling is a tightrope. Nobles eye me, a foreign woman, with suspicion. I draft laws banning torture, opening schools, but keep serfs bound to appease the elite. I'm lonely. My 300-square-foot bedchamber, a gilded cage, yet I push forward, commissioning libraries, hosting poets. I think of modern leaders, presidents, activists balancing ideals and reality. I've risen from pawn to empress, proof that will can reshape fate. What would you risk for your dreams? I'm an archaeologist now, in Tikal, Guatemala, 1994, unearthing a 7-foot sarcophagus in temple. 3. A 50-foot pyramid dwarfed by the jungle. The chamber, sealed for 1,300 years, hums with mystery, its air heavy with earth and time. The lid opens, and red cinnabar dust rises, toxic, sacred, coating a woman's skeleton, her skull cradling a jade mask, her chest draped with 3-inch jade beads. No glyphs name her, but she's royalty, perhaps Queen Extel, wife of King Balaam, whose tomb lies steps away in the Temple of Inscriptions. Cinnabar, red as blood, marks her as divine, a passage to Xibalba, the underworld. Only Balaam shares this honor, their burials, a cosmic pair. I join Maya elders under starlight, burning copal, chanting for her. It's not science, it's connection, bridging centuries. Her offerings bone needles, obsidian blades, ceramic vessels hint at rituals. She led, a priestess or queen. Her mask, mosaic tiles, shields her soul. The tomb, aligned east-west, mirrors the sun's journey. Was she Exgel Balaam's consort, or his mother, a regent? DNA is inconclusive, but her silence speaks her power in ritual, not words. I think of modern memorials, quiet graves, and see her as a mirror, a woman who shaped an empire, her legacy in jade and dust. What mark will you leave? I'm Sophia, in Mexico City, 1925. My life shattered by a tram crash at 18, spine fractured, 11 breaks in my leg, pelvis pierced. In a 3-foot body cast, I paint my reflection, my pain, on tin panels inspired by Mexican my brush traces nails piercing my skin, a cracked column from my spine raw, defiant art. And marry him in 1929, a stormy union of betrayal and fire. In the 1930s, we travel San Francisco, Detroit, New York, where I paint self-portraits, bleeding, unyielding, amid America's excess. A miscarriage in Detroit breaks me, my canvas weeping with a fetus, a cracked pelvis. Back in Cayocan S. Casa Azul, I teach street kids to paint murals, their sons and dreams, echoing my rebellion. My health falters, surgeries, corsets, infections, but I paint, even bedridden. In 1953, too weak for my solo show, I arrive by ambulance, tequila in hand, laughing. My last painting, watermelons, bears, viva la vida. I die in 1954. At 47, my body spent, my spirit unbroken. My art, unibrow otomi, dresses, raw truth lives on, a mirror for pain turned to power. What will you create from your struggles? The thread binding these lives, peasant, empress, archaeologist, artistes, resilience, the stubborn refusal to let hardship define you. In York and Bruges, I learned that joy, like a knight's tale or a rosemary sprig, can bloom in filth. As Ekaterina, I saw that power is crafted through cunning and sacrifice, not given. The Crimson Lady taught me that legacy endures in silence, in the rituals that outlast names. Sophia showed me that pain, when painted, becomes defiance, a voice for millions. The lesson: your struggles, exams, heartbreak, setbacks are not the end, but the canvas for your strength. Apply it today. When life feels heavy, find one small act, a song, a kind word, a bold idea, and let it carry you. Write your story, not as a victim, but as a creator, like Sophia's brush or Ekaterina's throne. What do you take from these lives? Do the peasants' songs in York remind you of your own small victories? Does Ekaterina's ambition spark your dreams? Does the Crimson Lady's mystery pull you to uncover your own history? Maybe Sophia's art inspires you to turn pain into purpose. Share your thoughts. What resonates? What challenges you? Your stories are part of this tapestry, like the Maya elders' chants or the village's laughter. For me, the architectural opinion lies in Tickle's temples, where silence speaks louder than words, a reminder that our creation's stone, paint, or ideas carry us beyond time. Let's build this conversation together.